you.
Right, I know people are still filtering in, but we're going to get going with the Board of Directors meeting. The first item on the agenda is the consent items. Minutes and Treasurer's Report for those of you on the board.
Move approval?
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so that approves the minutes and the Treasurer's report. First action item is the budget.
Yes, Madam Chair, just the Budget Committee met after the, and that's in the Cable Commission packet because we don't print it twice because they give the final approval. But the Budget Committee met, had no issues with the budget, and recommended approval unanimously.
Okay. Any questions, concerns, discussion?
Move approval.
Okay, thank you, Rex. Motion?
Second?
Thank you, Ann. Second. All those in favor, or any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Executive Director report.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll talk a little bit about several things. We've got a lot of exciting news. I want to give you a quick update. Last meeting I told you about, we had the situation with the Wells Fargo and somebody hacking our account. That is still being worked on. They have clawed back a considerable amount of funds. And we filed a claim with the insurance company, and that has been paid out. The insurance company now is working with an attorney through the League of Minnesota Cities to work with Wells Fargo in clawing back some more funds. So it's still in process. I've been keeping the executive committee up to date on this, and so we'll report back to the full group at our next meeting as well. So, but that's where that sits. And then the next item is I have a picture here of, if we want to click onto the next one. I don't know if you remember this, but back in well, some of you do, because I know there's three people here on our board. One of them is Jim Willis, who was here when we originally built the building, and Bill Blonigan, and Dr. Dwayne Orn. And I don't think Dr. Orn is here this morning, but I saw him around the building not too long ago when they were interviewing him for our special. Anyway, that is the front entryway over by the original part of the building that was built in 1986, and then since that time, we've added onto the building two other times. Once in 1997 when we added some set storage, and then another time when we built this center when we consolidated everything into one big, now the Northwest Community Television Center. So, but this is the original part of the building that we moved into, because we actually were housed in the cable, for those of the newer members, we were actually in the cable company building across the street for a while. And so the last remaining remnant of the building is this mauve counter that's been around forever, well, for over 30 years now. And so the next slide shows you that mauve counter now is it's gone, and we're finally, through suggestions of board members saying, Mike, I think it's time for a remodel around here, because it's definitely served its purpose. If you've been on the other side of the building, you definitely saw some of the aging things happening there. And so this week, in fact, I think we gave Wendy the first official sledgehammer at it, and because she sat there for so many years that she wanted to just help in the destruction of it. Now, granted, she didn't take it to that level, but anyway, so we have a firm working on that, and so hopefully this that project up front should be done by sometime by late January, and so by the next board meeting in February, we should have quite a bit of that remodeling done, along with some other areas that we've worked on, including the break room and an edit room and audio booth, and expansion of our server room. Of course, we told you last time we did a little remodel in the control room here. And then the community corner office that Tim will talk about later, we did some remodeling in there, because again, a lot of that has been old and out of date, and so we're very excited. And one thing you should know is that when we do all this remodeling, I may have mentioned this before, but we are changing things out in an environmentally friendly way. I mean, in fact, whenever we do a new area, it's all LED lighting is installed, and that saves a significant amount of energy, these new LED lights. So we're very excited about that. And and they say they last forever. You know, time will tell. I still don't know how they can tell you that. They say these bulbs will never go out, but I'm still wondering how they can prove that. Anyway, so that's that. And then the next thing I just want to just briefly mention, kind of give it just a little tease that the gala took place that Barb's going to talk about in just a few moments. This is the volunteer gala, and this was a very successful event. And my main purpose here is just to tell you that I was very happy and thankful for all of our community producers out there, and thankful for our staff for putting together such a great production, and Barb will give you a lot more details later. Next item, same thing. I just want to say thank you to our staff for a great job on election coverage. I think we're all happy that the election is over with, whether you look at it from the national level or for, you know, there's many in this room here who have also run for local office, and it's always good to kind of get that process done with. But one thing we focus on here, and we're quite proud of, is the fact of our live coverage that we do on Election Day, but all the work that's done up to that point that Dave and Tim will talk about with the candidate profiles and then the various candidate forums that take place throughout the northwest suburbs. That is really you know, a real solid thing we've been doing for many, many years, and we think it's a great community service. So next item I want to tell you about is that, speaking of elections, I was elected to a national board called NWCT. This is a group which stands for National Association of Telecommunications Officers and Advisors. It was actually a competitive election and nationwide, and I had served on MACTA, which is kind of the local group of, it'd be like the Minnesota League of Cities and then the National League of Cities, if you want to think of it in those terms, in terms of kind of the local group and a national group. I'll be serving as a board member for 2 years on this group, and the commission has been members of this group since we started. And they're kind of like the watchdog. They help us with various things. They work directly with the FCC and various other elected officials. They work with cities and counties and states to kind of put forth our interest in terms of community TV, local rights of way, for government local rights of way. I know there's been some talk. We just had a board meeting conference call just yesterday, and there's some concern of under the new federal elected officials that there could be issues with rights of way. But, you know, I think part of that is they might be more fearful, but I think that's a very important thing that we're going to have interest in. And of course, you as city administrators and elected officials want to definitely protect your public rights of way and have control over that. So in terms of what's going in those public rights of way. So I'm very excited to serve for 2 years and honored to be a part of this group. So I'll be sending you more information about that down the road. And then finally, on Monday, I had attended an event at the Minneapolis Telecommunications Network. It was an event called The Future of Community TV, and the reason I have this photo up here is that it's like a historical photo for me, because the woman standing next to me, her name is Mary Hansen, and she's a local icon in terms of the community access, community television world. She's been hosting a show since 1980, and she credits me for naming her show because one day she came in the studio for her very first show. This is over in Fridley, and she said, "Mike, what should I name my show?" And I said, "Why don't we just name it The Mary Hansen Show?" And she stuck with it like 1,000 shows later, and she's still doing shows today. They're on local community television channels. She can also be seen on TPT, public television, and so it was kind of a great reunion to see her at this event. And then standing next to her is Mike Wassner. He is originally from Minneapolis, and he served as a executive director of the St. Paul Neighborhood Network for many years, and he was appointed to the Alliance for Community Media Board. Well, actually, he's the president of Alliance for Community Media, and that is an organization, an umbrella organization that we belong to that their interest is local community programming and protecting that interest. So it was great to see those guys, and it was fun to be part of this this discussion regarding the future of community TV in Minneapolis. And so, without any further ado, I think I'm passing it on, is it to Dave? Dave Kaiser, welcome back. Dave was on vacation for a little bit, well-deserved. And take it away, Dave.
Thank you. Get the mic here to help out the production end of it. So good morning. A few recaps to give you as far as production work that's been done recently. And first, Mike mentioned the elections, and Mike from our news department gave me a few statistics here for you to know about the election coverage. We ran the candidate profiles. These are the 45-second clips of all of the candidates from every newscast from Labor Day to the end of October. So people had plenty of opportunity to meet their candidates. And those, of course, were all posted on our website as well. We contacted nearly 90 candidates by mail, phone, and email. And out of those 90 that we contacted, we aired 84 candidates who agreed to be a part of the profile. So a very good number of people that were part of the candidate profiles. On election night, we were on the air for an hour, 45 minutes live, so a lot of interchanging going on between different locations. In that night, obviously, along with the results, we interviewed 17 candidates in the studio, live remotes from Brooklyn Park City Hall, Plymouth City Hall, the Lodge Restaurant in Robbinsdale, and Frankie's Pizza in New Hope as well. So where the candidates were having their parties, we found them and we went out and talked to them as part of our election coverage. So I pulled a short clip just to show you what that election coverage looked like.
We'll take a look now at the District 36 State Senator race, and this is a final. John Hoffman, the incumbent, squeaking by. He's got 2 percentage points over Brooklyn Park Mayor Jeff Lundy, and I believe we go out to Brooklyn Park City Hall now, where Delane Cleveland is standing by with the mayor. Delane?
Hi, Mike. Yes, I am with Mayor Jeff Lundy right now. I suppose you were hoping to have State Senator Jeff Lundy next to your name. Didn't happen. First, I guess your reaction to the results.
No, I think, I think about what I could have done or should have done, and I left nothing on the table. And so in that regards, I'm at peace.
So again, many candidates from out the community were interviewed, and then of course the following days, opportunities in our newscast to talk to the either new candidates or candidates that had returned to office. So excellent coverage, and hats off again to our news staff for that work. Second group of clips is to show you a little bit about our sports coverage. And as always, we have some fantastic teams in this area, and we have been involved in the state volleyball, state football, and state soccer coverage. And I have a short clip here for some of the volleyball coverage.
With the ball in her hand and a trip to the X on the line, what does the first team All-American have for us?
Front row Berg across. Ashburn. Schmidt off the block. Whitezetta keeping it alive. Berg across, off of Philly. Off the curtain, played by Gore, over by Ashburn. Front row Berg again, missed it. Whitezetta losing Champlain Park. Back to state for the third straight year.
So two of our local teams, that was a section final match, and it was to the fifth set, and so that was the point that obviously sent Champlain Park to state. We also had Hopkins at state and Heritage Christian Academy out of Maple Grove to state in volleyball. In football, things are gearing up now. We have Champlain Park and Benilde St. Margaret and Totino Grace getting ready for football playoffs. And then also in the boys soccer tournament, we had the chance to tape our first match down at the U.S. Bank Stadium. So great experience for our crew to be able to tape there, and the Whitezetta boys soccer team finished second in the boys state tournament. So some fantastic coverage. And the neat thing to watch on those is not only the viewing of the replays on Channel 12, but the number of clicks we're getting through our website is just amazing. So obviously the sports following in this area is fantastic. My final update is a little bit about CCX and ccxmedia.org. We are moving ahead with that process, have been working with our PR firm related to a number of things, and I have a short video to show you of the future of CCX.
Connected community experience. It's at the core of what we do, and it's what we deliver. Keep watching for a new way to think about and experience Channel 12 and Northwest Community Television.
So that's the short 10-second teaser that we've been running, and that was something we launched on Veterans Day, November 11th. We also put something up on our website at that point to start to tease people of the 3 words, connected community experience. And as you know through our discussion, those were the key of our brand. That is what we do and why we exist. And so we are starting with those 3 words as what people are seeing right now. So people have not seen the CCX yet, but they will. We have a big special coming up on Thanksgiving. So the news department has been working very hard on putting together 4 different segments that talk about the 4 sub-brands that we have within our organization. So first they do a little history of our organization over the past 30-plus years, and then they break it down into the 4 different sub-brands and what they are and why they exist and why they're a benefit for the community. So I encourage you to watch that over Thanksgiving weekend. It will also be replayed Christmas weekend, and it will be on our website as well throughout the duration. So if you're interested, take a look at that. Also, as you might imagine, we're starting to get a few things printed, so this is one of the first CCX Media shirts that we have. This was something that was handed out at the Volunteer Gala. Barb did a great job with the volunteers, and they were very excited to get some T-shirts. On the back side, again, it talks about those 3 key words that we have and talks about the 4 sub-brands that we have. And if that's not big enough for you to see what the new brand looks like, hold on just a second. We'll show and tell. This isn't how you're supposed to use it, but I'll hold it like this just so you can see it. So this is something that we had the firm put together with the printer. This will be debuted at the Turkey Trot Hockey Tournament. So along with the Thanksgiving special that will be our news, on the 26th of November, we have an annual tradition, I think has been 15 years or so, that we do the kickoff boys hockey tournament here in the area. So it's Wayzata, Edina, Maple Grove, and I believe Holy Family are involved in that tournament. It's at the Plymouth Ice Center, so we have large banners that are put together, and again, we'll have the T-shirts there, and that will be one of our first launches along with that news special of CCX Media. And then starting on December 19th, it's a Monday, mark it on your calendar, that will be the first day that everything will switch over to CCX Media and the different sub-brands. So we're very excited. Staff is working very hard on putting some materials together, mostly from a video front, obviously, so be looking for those changes. So that's my report. Be happy to answer any questions, or else I think I will hand it over to Tim. No?
Barb.
Barb, our audio queen.
Slide in here. Good morning, everybody. As Mike said, we had kind of a busy time since our last meeting, and I think Sue Ellen and Zipporah can kind of attest to that. It's been really busy in the studio. So I kind of looked at my staff and I said, we all look like we're running around with our hair on fire, trying to get ready for the gala, et cetera, but it's been a fun fall. One thing I did want to point out is we do have an election going on for Scott Burdett's seat on the board, and we will know who the winner of that is on the 20th. Okay. Also, too, before I get to, obviously, some pictures from the gala, I did want to talk a little bit, too. We had our second Super Saturday, I think it was October 29th, right before, as we were getting ready for the gala. And that's kind of a big thing that we do, where residents can come in and take all of our classes in one day. This was our second one for this year, and it was really successful. So we're planning to kind of do a few more of those because people like to get all the classes done in one day and get going. So, but without further ado, I want to talk a little bit about the gala. As Mike said, it was a huge success. We had a great turnout, and my staff is awesome. They put together a quick little video to show you just some of the highlights. So let's play the first one. Kind of a look back in the night. photo booth was a big hit. Just kind of a quick look. It was at the Maple Grove Community Center. We loved it. It was hosted by Roger Larson, who some of you know from Channel 12. He worked with the Access Department for a long time, and really a fun night. A lot of the night is recognizing volunteers and also putting together some video. So I'm going to show just some short clips of some of the videos we did. Javier put together a really nice video kind of behind the scenes of what goes on here, and he talked to some of the volunteers. And if you get a chance, take a look at it. It's 7 minutes long. We'll have it up on YouTube. So why don't we play a little bit of this one.
There's a lot of stuff I still need to learn. All you guys have some uniqueness about you. You know, and that's why I'm saying you're all different. Everybody here is happy. I mean, how can you not be happy? As soon as you come in, people are smiling. I'm telling you, it makes you feel good. Because as soon as you see anybody, they're smiling at you.
I learned a lot. I'm doing things that I never thought I would be doing.
She's now a polka fan. But Javi really, tried to get as many volunteers as he could over, I think it was a couple of weeks, just to kind of show what people do here and how they feel about this organization.
You get out in the public and it's fun to watch people, they recognize you.
It is something I've never done before. I just love it.
That's probably enough, Sean. And there's take a look at it if you can. It's 7 minutes. It's just good stuff. And then also, we always have to end the night with a dance video. I think you guys saw part of it last year, so I thought, I better throw that one in too. So every year we pick a song, and because we are soon going to be the organization formerly known as NWCT, we decided to do a song by what was he? The symbol formerly known as Prince, I guess?
Semolina.
Yeah, so there you go. So this is a little bit, I don't think this is really Prince singing the song, but you'll get it. So go ahead, Sean.
One night. So when you call up that swing in Beverly Hills, you know the one. Not there, everything will be alright. Instead of asking them how much of your time is left, ask them how much of your mind is left. 'Cause in this life, things are much harder than in that world. In this life, you're on your own.
These guys are really good.
And if the elevator breaks down, go crazy. Rush the highest floor. Please don't lie. But take a look around.
You can take it down. It's just a look. You'll have to go to YouTube for the rest. But just a great night. So thanks to everybody who came, all the board members who were there. It was good. So that's really, that was kind of the highlight of our fall. Now we're kicking it and looking toward 2017 and trying to finish up our projects and move forward. So thanks. Any questions, anyone? All right, thank you.
Well, Barb is a hard act to follow, so I'll do it first by handing out statistics.
That'll catch everyone.
That's right.
I'm sorry those weren't in your packet. We got backed up with some projects. A couple of things I will mention about the statistics that I'm handing out here. Nothing really earth-shattering in them this time, again, other than there are a couple of big numbers. Plymouth had a big month of October for city views, and they are mostly related to 508 of those are Supreme Court candidates forum that was actually recorded back in July at Plymouth City Council chambers, and that one was viewed in the Granicus online system. All the other candidates forums that we did, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, we loaded to YouTube and were watched through YouTube. But that's why there's a big number in Plymouth. They weren't ruffling anybody's feathers. It was a candidates forum that month. Our YouTube views are up this fall, especially as you saw, volleyball is very popular on the internet. There's some sort of cult following for volleyball. We had one game that has had over 25,000 views on our YouTube site from this fall. So that's why those numbers are as big as they are. Again, September and October are busy months, especially in an election year. City Council chambers events that we recorded, our crews, our dedicated crew of about a dozen part-time people that you see sitting in the control rooms at your council meetings. We had 42 scheduled events at city halls in the month of October. 30 is about average for a normal month. We had city council meetings, planning commission meetings, EDAs as usual. OSSEO has a quarterly or semi-annually public safety meeting, a park and rec committee meeting that we cover, and then we had candidates forums. Candidates forums that have been talked about a little bit. We covered 14 separate candidates forums events at City Council chambers in September and October that featured debates, I guess if you want to call them that, for 40 or more separate seats in the Northwest area. The most viewed online of those was the OSSEO District School Board Candidates Forum, had 1,200 views, so that was a popular race, I guess. Maple Grove City Council Candidates Forum and had 459, and Brooklyn Park City Council Candidates Forum had 429. So hopefully that is indicating, the usefulness of doing those and doing our part to help inform people. Moving on to the next slide. As far as city technology, one of the projects there's a lot of construction work going on around in our building, and I'll talk about a couple of those. Mike mentioned the NWCT server room expansion. That is complete now. That project included relocating edit rooms. We expanded the space to swallow up one of the edit rooms that we had. So we added a couple of new rooms, including a new audio booth for the production department. But the big thing about the server room is that starting even this month and in December and into 2017, we're going to be moving all the billboarding and replay equipment that's based at city halls for the Channel 16 replays back to our server room. And this has created enough space that we can do that now. That'll give us the opportunity to better manage it. We're improving the signal paths from for those signals to get out to residents based on fiber optic rather than the coaxial system that's been in place for the last 35 years or so. And so making those improvements, but that was kind of one of the big keys to being able to do that is getting space here for us to rack all that equipment. Other city technology upgrades that are happening. Finally, I've been talking about this for 2 years now. Brooklyn Center City Council Chambers system is actually moving forward. We have bid opening for both the construction side and the AV side this afternoon, and hopefully those bids will come in where they need to. It is a challenging project due to the shape and the construction of the council chambers. Most of your council chambers are not octagonal, although Maple Grove's is round, so that's always been a challenge too. We'll be setting up a temporary system for them and a yet to be determined location. I got a list yesterday of potential sites, 5 or 6 of them, and so we're kind of discussing the pluses and minuses of each site. But you can kind of see some of the renderings there of the what they're doing in the council chambers, remodeling the whole council dais, remodeling the whole room with new wall coverings and whole new decorative scheme, I guess, for lack of a better term that comes to mind. And then the control room layout for the system, which again is something that we've tried to duplicate in most of our city council control rooms so that it's easier for us to move my employees from one spot to another, say, hey, can you cover here because somebody can't be there if they're sick or whatever. And so we've tried to keep that standard. And then also related to construction on the next page is our, Mike mentioned, community corner production office remodeling. For the last 15 years or so, they've been living in squalor in what was originally built as a control room for the second studio. We had equipment stacked in corners on the floor, not really properly being taken care of. We had carpet on the walls, big sheets of carpet, as you can see in that top picture where those kind of ripped off spots are. That's where the carpet was on the walls for sound deadening so they could edit in there. And we kind of had a hodgepodge of desks and tables for their editing equipment. As you can see in the bottom, we've transformed that room to a much more conducive space for our editors who spend, Chris and Beth, some of you know them, spend several hours a day at these edit desks working on the community corner programming segments. The desks are height adjustable, which we have in some of our other edit suites too, so they're ergonomic. They can stand, they can sit, they can make it whatever height they want. As we were looking at desks and stuff, we did see some that had treadmills. We did not go as far as providing them treadmills to walk on while they're editing, but maybe in a future budget you'll see that. Also, new cabinetry, storage for gear, so we got our gear in protected storage. It's not sitting collecting dust or in the way of the cleaning crew as they come and mop the floor or whatever. And so it's a much better working environment and better environment for protecting the assets of our equipment and stuff. So we're excited to have that project done, and that's just one of the many things that, as Mike mentioned, is going on with the building. And we get complaints from our various departments as the other departments getting their construction work done, because there's a lot of hammering and drilling and screws being and that kind of stuff. Sounds like a body shop, but in the end, I think it's going to be great for everybody to have a little bit better working environment. So, other than that, I don't have any other things to report. I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has them, and if not, I'll run away.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business for the board? Mike, anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, with no other business, we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, we'll call the Northwest Suburbs Cable Commission meeting to order, and I assume Wendy has a roll call already. So the first item on the agenda is a consent agenda, which are the approval of the minutes from the September 15th meeting and the October 20th public hearing regarding CenturyLink, and the treasurer's report, which are included in your packet. Is there a motion? Thank you. Is there? Thank you. Thanks, Julie. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Consent agenda is approved. First item on the agenda is a presentation of our 2016 investment report, and I believe Paul Hennon is here to make that report.
Good morning. And I'm here to present the financials, and I'll just go through, I've added a supplemental that I'll address later, but I'm just going to go through the report on where we're at, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty good year, in spite of a lot of things going on out there. But this is the third quarter report, and we did break the 2 million mark, and it's $2,015,749. The annual return is about 2.97%, and that's what I'm going to project that I think will, if everything stays steady, we will attain that goal. And the current cash flow is about 2.2%. So interest rates, as you know, are still very low. And I look at the 10-year is about, I'll address that later, but I think I provided a yearly cap. And so the 10-year average is about 2.08%. The 5-year average is 0.75%. 3-year average is actually was a negative 0.8%. So relatively, we came in at 1.82%, 1.28%, and 0.62%. So, and then the management fees are 0.5%, so that'll come in around $9,300, and that's 0.5% on assets under management. The returns are net of fees, so that's good to. So if everyone understands that, it's actually we did net it out 2.97% on an annual basis. The other thing that I wanted to address is the second report that you see. That has this is like the average or the interest rates from 1 month going out to the 30 years on an annual basis. And if you just look at, this is from the Department of Treasury, and if we start off at 1.4, it's 2.24%. And if you look at, as of 3/30, it was 1.78%, and 6/30 is 1.86%, and as of 9/30, the 10-year Treasury was 1.6%. And I think I'd rather refer you back to this last page here that'll kind of summarize it. It looks like this. It's handwritten. I didn't have time to actually, because this is so recent, but between 9/30 of 2016 and 11/14 of 2016, interest rates over that 45-day period went up 0.63%. It went from 1.6 to 2.3%. And normally that may not seem like a big move in the bond market, but it is significant and over such a short period of time. And to put it in perspective, if the portfolio, if a jump of 0.6% in the interest rates would actually increase on a 7-year duration bond portfolio, which is normal, I guess, for people that are investments, it would drop the portfolio by about 5%. And that's simply because as interest rates go up, bond prices go down. And so to put it in perspective, a $2 million portfolio would have dropped by about $100,000. And so so it just shows you the importance of what's called a duration. And if you look at how we fared, as of 9/30/2016, the Northwest Cable portfolio was $2,015,749. And if you look as of 11/14, there's a portfolio statement that shows that the portfolio was $2,012,935. So it only dropped $2,800, which is like 0.1%, which is really pretty good. We're trying to avoid any kind of drops in interest in the portfolio. So one note that I'm trying to get across is that people are looking at the Federal Reserve as what they're going to do. They're going to go up and down. Really, the Federal Reserve doesn't have any control over the secondary bond market. They only control what's called short-term bonds. So, and that's what it shows here is that the Fed didn't make a move, but the 10-year rate moved up by 0.63% because it's in the secondary market. They trade independent of what the Federal Reserve tries to do. So That being said, I'm trying to manage the portfolio to avoid any kind of pitfalls like that. And I think we're doing okay, in my mind. So any questions at all?
Questions for Paul?
None?
Well, so
Well-
just in case somebody was watching on TV, you accidentally said that the 3-year average was a negative 0.8%. You did better than that. It's at negative 0.18%.
Right, excuse me, yep. So very little sensitivity to interest rate movements. And rates are so low right now that even overseas, we're getting into what's called negative interest rates. And it's basically because of the economies are slowing down, and they don't have much room to go. You can't lower interest rates less than zero. But the real part is if we start to have inflation, bond prices are going to drop, interest rates are going to go up, and that's what we're trying to avoid at all costs. So, thank you for that. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We don't need action, right? No. All right, next item on the agenda is the Northwest Cable Television's budget, and the commission's budget for 2017.
Again, Madam Chair, again, like I said at the Northwest Community Television meeting, this was unanimously approved at the Budget Committee meeting in September. So we're just looking for final approval from the Cable Commission for our 2017 budget.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Are there comments, questions?
Move approval of the budget.
Second.
All right, thank you, Jim and George. Is there further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. The 2017 budgets are approved. Next, we have service recognition of commission and board members. Do you want to?
Yes, I'll start off, Madam Chair. This is something we do annually at our November meeting, is recognize service. We do service recognitions. It's been a tradition here in 5-year increments. And also, if people are leaving the board, board member and commission member Rex Newman informed me last month. He came in and we sat down and had a nice chat about his service. He's thinking about retiring with his work, and has put some thought in over the last several months about retiring from the Cable Commission and board. And Rex told me he had a fantastic time serving the last 11 years on the board and 4 years on the commission, and certainly we want to thank him for all those 11 years on the NWCT board and the 4 years on the Cable Commission. And in addition to that, Rex also served on the negotiating committee, and the negotiating committee is somewhat of a major commitment, as you all know, and there's several negotiating committee members in here. And so he was in on the negotiations with both Comcast and CenturyLink. And after the CenturyLink thing settled, he felt this was probably time to kind of move on, because he felt that was important, that there's now true competition for the residents in the northwest suburbs now that CenturyLink is there. And I just want to personally thank Rex for everything he's done on behalf of both the commission and the board. And we're going to go and give him a plaque. Both Marcia and Ann are going to present a plaque to him, and we can. So thank you, Rex.
Well, thank you.
I want to shout.
Must we? Thank you. Congratulations.
Take a picture afterwards, maybe. We'll pause for pictures afterwards. So thank you, Rex, again for all your service there. Next, now in terms of service anniversaries, we want to recognize Julie Deschler. She's with the City of Crystal. She's was recently re-elected. Congratulations to the Crystal City Council. And is very excited to serve on our commission. And
She loves the special morning, the early morning.
she loves the early morning meetings.
Loves that.
I really like your budget.
Yeah, exactly. And we definitely want to thank council member and commission member Julie Deschler for all of her service as well.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you wanted to say anything at all?
I'm kind of ashamed because the truth is, I think in 5 years, I've maybe seconded 2 motions. My contribution. But I think in the next year, I might not second, maybe I'll make the motion. I'll move on.
Okay, thank you very much. And now, the next one, last but not least, is Bill Blonigan, City of Robbinsdale, council member for many, many years. In fact, how many years have you served on the council?
Almost 36.
Almost 36 years, okay, so a year longer than serving on our commission. And just re-elected to the Robbinsdale City Council, so congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
So I've known Bill, I've been with this organization since day one, so I've known Bill, and he looks the same today that he did 35 years ago. So there's something in that Robbinsdale water. I want to thank Bill for all of his service as well. Bill has, again, been steadfast commissioner for many years, serving on both the executive committee and the negotiating committee. He's been through several negotiations all the way back to the very beginning. There's been about 7 or 8 different cable companies in our history that Bill has personally dealt with and has successfully closed the deal with our cable commission and executive committees and negotiating committee members for the betterment of community television and cable franchises in the northwest suburbs. So before we present his plaque, I do want to say one thing. I did a little research of what life was like back in 1981. Paul Hennon, I think he is gone, but he was talking about he's worried like if there's inflation. Well, I don't know if you know this, but in 1981, the average inflation rate was 10.35% back then. And I don't think since then we've had double-digit inflation. It all went down from there. So maybe when Bill got on the commission and on the council, somehow they said, no more inflation. Anyway, so that was the inflation rate. The average cost of a new house when Bill started on this commission was about, and this was a new house, was about $78,000. The median price of an existing home was $66,000, so those were the good old days. Average income was around $21,000 a year, and average rent was about $300. That was the year when he came on board, was when they had the first space shuttle launch, the Space Shuttle Columbia, back in 1981. And Ronald Reagan was elected president in 1980 and then sworn in 1981. And then the first female Supreme Court Justice, Sandra Day O'Connor, was named to the Supreme Court on the year Bill Blonigan became a commission member here. And then, for those of you interested in another little trivial fact, Lady Diana, who's now passed away, and Prince Charles married that year.
I didn't go.
And
But you were invited, right?
And the term internet was mentioned at one point in 1981. And then Bill Gates developed Microsoft DOS, and that was put out there, and the MTV was launched. And back then, when we were doing commission packets in 1981, we had no computers here. Our first computer was purchased in 1984, and it was one computer for the entire organization. Everything was done on the old IBM Selectric typewriters for agendas and minutes and everything. So, again, I personally want to thank Bill for his 35 years of service, and let's give him a big round of applause. We hope to hear a speech here, too.
Well, when you're 5 years, you get a plaque. When you're 11 years, you get a pretty nice, that's a nice plastic thing. And when you're 35 years, you get
an
a
empty
crystal, oh my gosh.
Congratulations, it's my pleasure to
Oh,
give you
thank
this
you. Thank you.
35 years of commitment, service, countless hours spent in fun meetings.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, the commission has not fumbled anything. I mean, you guys have done a great job. We have a staff that's as professional as WCCO or KSTP or any of them. With that inflation, our pay here on the commission stays the same as it was back in 1981. So we're doing a good job as commissioners too. And I think, and you know, that Microsoft thing that I blew it. I did not buy Microsoft stock in 1981. And the only thing we ever blew is we had a chance to buy the cable company ourselves. We had the right of first refusal at one time. And we would have made hundreds of millions of dollars for our cities, but we never even seconded Crystal Tom Ocker's motion. We never even, nobody seconded his
We're
motion.
not that bitter. Crystal is not that bitter.
And, but I think we're pretty inclusive on the board, you know. We've got big cities and small cities, and we're never fighting over the money or the assets should go here or there. There's a formula, and we're not backbiting each other, so we're all inclusive and we're helping each other out, and I think that's great. Our power is from the fact that we're such a big cable area because of the fact that we're all these cities together. And to be more inclusive, I think that when we adjourn this meeting, we should let Julie make the motion. And
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everyone.
Ann,
Yes,
real
sir.
quick, I just want to give everyone a little bit of insight into working with Bill on the council now for 10 years, and him being on the council since '81. It's always nice as a council, we always look back at things that have happened over the years, 30 years ago, and we what in the heck were they thinking to do this or that? And we always all just turn and look at Bill. It's kind of handy to have. I'm happy we have it for 4 more years. Thanks. Congratulations.
Thank you, George.
We just want to mention before Julie officially adjourns us that we do have a special little breakfast out in the hallway, because I know some members came in here and said, "Hey, where's the big donuts and the bagels?" So if you would like to stick around for just a few minutes, just in honor of our recipients here today, we'd really appreciate it. And that's right out in the hallway as you walk out. So thank you.
So Julie, I believe it's up to you.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.